Hello everyone, it's Rocky Nash. We're live and we were going to have a little coffee chat. I'm going to make sure my audio is good or check. We're just going to do a quick little chat about workshops, conferences, events that had an influence on my career. If anyone wants to get into live streaming, you don't have to be the expert that puts on, the Super Bowl as far as live streaming. Maybe yours is virtual events. Maybe yours is video podcast. Maybe your production style, like me, is like at-home broadcast or remote broadcast out in the field covering events. Like we have the Latin Grammys next week. I was supposed to be at the Twitter Dev Conference for developers using Twitter API. And that got canceled, of course, because we all know what's happening. My thoughts are with all those creative people at Twitter. I love them. I worked with them for so many years ago in my early Periscope days. Remember? Twitter bought Periscope. And so let me see if I have a picture. I was looking for one while I was making my coffee, and I wanted to share that with you all. I might have to just show it to you on my phone because I was messing around adding scenes, which I'm going to cut off the beginning of this video, of course. But I wanted to show you, so I think I'm just going to show you from my phone because there's a button. Well, let me make sure I'm not going to turn this off. I really hope, because there's so many settings. Let me see if this says to focus. Okay, it does. I think. Okay, let's see if that works. Oh, sorry, I'm getting creative, but this is a live stream. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, I think I can. I can't believe. Okay, I'm controlling my phone from I'm pressing buttons that are behind me. I can't believe I actually got the button right. All right. Well, there you have it. You've live streamed for so long. Okay, I'm going to find the photo for you because I got to show this to you. The good old days. The good old days from Periscope. And here we go. Oh, I won't say her name because this was so long ago. She left Twitter a long time ago, but she's great. I don't know why I'm taking chances here, still pressing buttons that are on the back of the camera to try to add features, but I'm doing it. All right. So this is having coffee nearby, right next to the Twitter headquarters. And those were early Periscope days, live streaming application that allowed us to go live around the world to our community, which many of you were there from my early days live streaming. And I think I have a picture with my coffee outside the headquarters. So the Twitter Developers Conference wasn't going to be at Twitter headquarters. It was going to be at this really cool place called the Midway something or other. And had my flight. I was supposed to leave day before yesterday. I was supposed to leave this morning, like 3 a.m. But because it was canceled last minute, it's non-refundable as well. So actually, I probably got a non-refundable ticket because of what I like to save. So no, even if I had it, it was less than 2 weeks, so it would be non-refundable. But anywho, that event, me going to Periscope events early on, speaking at tech summits, really helped me to really network and get to know other creators. Because if you remember, does anybody remember 2015? I don't know. I know, Michael, you were here early on. Tish was here early on. And Charlie was here early on. And when I would go live you only get better by doing. So I would go live almost daily and share Las Vegas travel and tourism tips. And it was exciting. But because I created so much content and in a short period of time got at least 1 million views before the app was bought by Twitter, I think it had at least 5 million likes and things, because I was just answering questions. I was walking around Las Vegas, going to different hotels, answering travel and tourism questions because my background was VIP concierge and I was a local. I just was doing it for fun because you could from your phone. I was like, what? I can't believe this is possible. Technology is amazing. And someone convinced me to flip the camera and start showing myself more so I could talk to you and, look at you in the eye. It just changed everything for me. So let me find the first tech conference that I spoke at was Periscope Summit regarding live streaming, not my first large event because I've spoken at stadiums regarding different topics, but this regarding live streaming, I have a photo. Might as well use my phone, right, and be all nostalgic about my early days because I only live streamed from my mobile phone my first couple of years. And I had brand deals and everything, so never let anyone tell you that it's about the gear. My story has always been the same. Use what you have, get started, just go live, because that's what I did. But everyone has a different path to success. That's why never say like, it's only this way you can do it. You know, if someone says that, I don't leave a negative comment, but I'm just like, no, that's not true. You can succeed. You can do it differently. And because your audience is different. My audience, which I recently found out too, because now that I start looking at analytics, you all prefer when I'm more casual, when I continue to travel around Vegas and just talk about live stream. I had no idea, had I not looked at the data, that my random musings around Las Vegas, is that what you call it? Wandering around, showing you a little behind the scenes with my friends or my coworkers or whatnot while I'm working and creating, but also eating. That's what you prefer. And I'm like, oh, well, that's good because that's what I naturally like to do. So let's talk tech and let's eat. Like, I'm going back to that. Michael, you're the first to know since I know you're here. Anyone else on the replay, expect more food and tech because we're going out. But here is I did another event. Danielle Ford at the time, she had hosted an event. And chat, here, let me see if I can make it look so black background. Yeah, it was also a summit. It was a Periscope event, and I spoke with some awesome other creators. That was fun. That was my first local event, but before that, I think I spoke at Periscope Summit in San Francisco, and I'm going to find that photo. And the topic was marketing to millennials using live stream. Oh, here it is. I found a little group photo. It was really cute. I got to remember to make the black screen. Marketing to millennials. Can you see that? Really great. Professionals in different areas like fashion and news and entrepreneurship, just professional. I was so grateful to be on that panel, but the only way I got invited to it was because I was active in the live stream community almost daily. I showed that you could just have a mobile phone, get the best signal you could, have good lighting, have good audio, and then just talk to people, answer their questions in real time, and it would make a difference. So that was one of my first conferences. It was the Periscope Summit. It was, I'm trying to think of the name of the other one. The one locally here. I know it had Vegas in the name. And also being invited out to being in San Francisco, I got to meet people at Twitter. So great. I feel like that was... we won't know her last name, but Annie, she's amazing. Shout out to Annie, for her who was working at Twitter at the time and helping with Periscope. And let's see who else. By the way, there was many other live stream apps around that time, startups coming around that some made it, some didn't. Some may have been purchased by other companies. I'm not sure, but I got to meet some of those founders and their team. So like other platforms, and my friend went with me this day. But do you remember Busker? Do you remember Busker? Man, that was it's taking me way back. And also, what was this one? Crew? I think it was, I was at an event for something called Crew. I think that was music related, but I'm not sure. I went to so many startup events. Hey, Podcast by Mata. Oh, you know what? I gotta put your all names up here. Let me, I switch things around. Why do I insist on switching things around? I might just go ahead and throw your comment up there. Yeah, I'm just gonna do that because, oh, here, I have key commands. Well, I'm acting like I don't have key commands. All right, thank you. Thanks for being here. And also, I'm gonna add Michael's comment here. Thanks for being here too, Michael. So we're just chatting, Podcast Amata. We're just chatting about conferences, workshops, events that changed the course of my career, my life in live stream production. So now, as you know, if you follow my social media, I'm trying to get more into learning about virtual production. I never wait till I feel like I'm an expert at one thing before I hop on the next thing to start learning more, because I want to stay ahead of the curve. And I like to take risk, really, to be honest with you. Can you hear my Keurig machine? I'm gonna go fix that. My Keurig machine is making noise. I'll be right back. It's a live stream. It's okay. Oh, I'll be right back. Beep, beep, beep. You can't hear that? It sounds like a dinosaur. I got some more sunlight going in here too. Yes, I opened up the blinds. I'm just doing everything with you all today. Hey, I saw the analytics, by the way, too. Podcast by Mata. I saw that you all prefer when I just show behind the scenes, my everyday life. So I'm going back to my roots when I actually started doing travel and tourism blogs, but also talking about the tech behind it. Going back to that. That's what we're going to do. That's what you like. I like eating while working. So here we go. Why not? Why not? Okay, so oh, you say, okay, yes, that is what is up. Oh, so I'm going to show you some of these other events that I went to. Impact, I don't even remember going to this one, to be honest with you. But so many like entrepreneurship, motivational, mentor type courses I would go to. I would also go to CES, NAB. What's another one I would go to like every year? I've been to CES. How many times? You've been there with me. How many times have I been to CES? Every year. So it shows you the latest in technology around the world. Do you drink coffee? Do you all have your coffee with you? You know I do, because it's always in all my pictures. Oh, VidCon. I went to VidCon once. Thanks to my friend Mike for giving me that ticket. Here's a picture at YouTube Studio in LA. After VidCon, they invited out some of the creators, and because YouTube had just given me access to YouTube Live Mobile, I was one of the first people to have it because I was right there, and I got invited by someone. I was talking with the development team, or they were engineers, I think. They gave me access, and so I was able to test it, and I was just taking pictures around VidCon, had no idea who any of these creators were, right? Maybe two I knew, but that I wasn't going to chase them down because it was wild. It was amazing, but VidCon was amazing. But I had no idea who anyone was because I was creating on Periscope. At the time, I may have had a YouTube channel, but I wasn't really creating on it. And so this is really cool. This is a cool moment because I was taking so many pictures. Do you see who that is? And they just got married. That's Sarah Dietschy. I'm like, what? So I'm looking through my photos. I'm like, oh, now I know who all these creators are. I met Roberto Blake at this one because I actually, of all the people, my first VidCon, won an annual subscription to Adobe. I mean, I won something. I was like, that's wild. It was just an amazing time. I think this was also VidCon. Remember Snap Glasses? Why am I saying, oh, because I have a green screen. I had been waiting to see one of these little installations of a Snap, it looks like a refrigerator unit, but vending machine, and I couldn't find one. Of course, there was one at VidCon, so I found it, and I finally got Snap Glasses. Now they have, like Meta has their version of them too, that are Ray-Bans, but that was the first time I got glasses that were linked to social media, because, you know, you could take a picture with your glasses and transfer it to your Snapchat. Do you remember that? Okay. Well, so let's show you more pictures. Let's start with CES since that's the first one. So CES is where the world gathers for the latest in technology and on so many fields. And I would always go to see what's the latest in production, the latest in photography and video, podcasting, things like that. Audio visual basically. And I just kept going back. I would get invites as an alum and then media. And then after that, you know, I got recruited into news, but we'll talk about that. But I've always had media access as a tech person because I have been creating so much content and I got recognized by that. And let's show you some pictures from CES. I think I'm going to try to find my first one. I was going to cast it on the screen, but I don't want to do too much. It's early. So it is not that early. It's only 9:40 a.m. here, but it's going to be a crazy busy day. I got so much to tell you. Okay, here we go. So I wore Disney ears. Is my phone dirty? Yes, it is. Okay, here we go. I wore Disney ears to CES because it is my Disney. Like, I just love going to CES. Oh, here's a better one. This so you can see kind of the crowds behind me on the escalator. And just an amazing event. You meet people from around the world. I got to meet people who manufacture some of my favorite products. I have a picture. Okay, so that's where you enter in the hall. If you've been to the Las Vegas Convention Center, I got to meet the team with Insta360. I was one of the first to go live in 360 from mobile phone using Periscope, and that was thanks to Insta360. And I have the whole catalog, I guess, of the early cameras. So the one that was round, the one that snapped to an iPhone 6S, the one that snapped to newer models of iPhones when they still had rounded kind of bubbled edges. that was such a great time. Adobe at the time, you know, I was learning it. I was editing, but I wanted to get more deeper into it, and I got to meet people who were part of developing some of the 3D features, not 3D, but virtual editing elements. I can't remember what his program was called. Was it called Metal? If you're in VR, you know, but that's who that was. I was like, what? So I got to meet him. Where's another one? Oh, I got to go to a lot of different events. Do you all remember this golfing event? It's my friend Ben. So this guy was, I say this guy, but if you watch golf, you'll know who he is. I can't remember his name, but he was hosting for NBC a golf tournament. I think it was Tiger Woods was there. And he actually let me hold the microphone with the flag on it for NBC. Who knew? Years later, let me see, when was this picture taken? I don't know, because I transferred to my new iPhone, so it's it doesn't say the date. Let me see if it's in the data. Let's see if it's in the data. Let's get geeky. It's not, because I transferred it from Android. They're punishing me. Okay, but who knew that later on I would be working for CBS as a digital live producer years later? This had to be at least 5 years before I ended up actually working in news. But that picture is pretty cool to me, because who knew that later on I'd be working in news. Okay, so I'm going to stay on CES. I covered CES. So definitely look it up. The website, so I think CTA.org. Let me double check on the website for you real quick. I think it's CTA, because that's the organization that manages CES.org. No, it's not .org. Let me get it right. CES. Because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Okay, I'm just going to type in Consumer Electronics Show. Haha, I found it. CES.tech. Why did I know that? Okay. Yes, it's CES.tech. I knew that. Let me get this, oops, I almost into the broadcast. I'm trying to get it back to you all. Okay, so that's the website, ces.tech. And it's the latest innovations around the world in technology. So every year we go to this. And this year, this coming up, it's going to be, is it January 5 through 8? I'm just guessing. Yeah, it is. January 5th through 8th, 2023. So we will be there. We will be covering the latest in tech. Stay tuned. Make sure you're following on all my socials. Let me see if I have a link to that for my LinkedIn. Yay. Okay, so just scan that. Don't you just love when things work out? Scan that and make sure to follow me on all social media, because when we go live at these events, I'm going to of course broadcast it to you. I'll be taking requests of things that you want to see, the latest in drones or robotics, or auto, computers, pro audio, pro video. Speaking of which, okay, nostalgic. Here we go. Can you see this? Wait. Yes, you can. I dug out my camera from 17 years ago because someone, I can't make this up, Michael. I can't make this up. Someone remembered that I was a professional photographer many moons ago, and my portfolio is still on my website. I'll show it to you all in a minute. But they were like, oh, do you still do photography? I really want some pictures like this. I have been saying no for years, or referring to other people. I went on a tangent, yes. But this is related, because Pro AV, CES, Nikon, Canon's always there. So I was a Nikon shooter. I've won awards right after leaving college, during college actually, for Mamiya, Nikon. And I just loved photography. I did it for at least a decade in town. You could see my pictures on billboards and magazines, book covers, and I just loved it. This is my 17-year-old camera. Yes, a D200. I got it out. Do you know this thing still works? I searched on YouTube, and there are people like making videos about old cameras and if they still work. Are they still good? So mind you, the file size and the resolution is about the same as our phones today, like about the same. So it's high resolution. It still looks good because my images looked good then, but now they're like 28 megabyte and bigger, right? Per file. Like I can shoot RAW, and that's what I'm gonna have to start shooting in this if I use this. But of course I'm making a new camera, but it still works. I found the charger for the batteries, oh, which I have right here. I found the charger for these. Do you remember these? And you said you're chatting on your phone and watching you on Apple. Am I on TV? Thank you for casting me on the television. I'm a mess, as you've seen. If you saw my last post when I got invited to a caviar bar, I was a hot mess. Strolling, I felt so cultured. But anyway, this is the camera from 17 years ago that I did many photo shoots with, many weddings with, many events with, and it works. And mind you, I dropped this nice lens. This is a real Nikkor lens. Look at that. Look how, that's how this thing went through it. Do you see that? How the rim is all cracked off? I dropped this sucker and still used it. I got certain things fixed. Look, this is coming off. I'm going to get some Gorilla Glue. I'm going to fix it because I don't want to announce. Yeah. I don't want to announce who there's a brand that's sending me a lot of gear today. I'm going to go through it, do inventory, start testing it, but I'm going to publish just even the unpacking, playing around with it because I'm back. I'm going to do photography too because I missed it. And this friend from years ago convinced me to accept another gig, so I'm going to do it. But I'm rolling this all around. Look at this. Look, that's coming off. This thing was used very well. I was busy all the time in photography. So I just had to show this to you. If someone has a D200 or is a Nikon shooter, let me know. I used all the cameras though, by the way, because as a commercial photographer, that's what I went to college for initially, and business, you use all the things. So I knew how to use large format, medium format, 35 millimeter, DSLR, digital cameras. And I actually would develop and process I would process my film and develop images in a dark room. Like I was the last year they were doing that at my college before they switched all over to digital. So I learned Photoshop and editing and things like that so that I could train, established photographers who I could probably assist, but I could train them how to do digital photography. So it just worked out. And talking about always learning, always thinking of ways to make income, because I had to pay off those school loans. I did not get a full ride. But all this to say, I'm back. Can't wait to show you which camera gear that I'm going to be testing for the next 10 days, covering small events, the Latin Grammy Suite, that's next week, a photo shoot, food photography should be happening. If not, we'll go somewhere else and I'll still use the camera gear so you can see it. But I'm really excited about it. This was my first camera. I was a Nikon shooter, but I did use Canon as well. I've used Fuji, I've used Sony, but this was my first camera. Found it. It still works. D200. Shout out to you, Nikon, because that sucker still works. It's amazing. Okay, so let me put my lens on it. Try not to drop it again. I'm surprised the cap still fits on this thing because there's so much of the edge of this lens that is just gone. So, yeah, I didn't take the best. I did take good care of it, though. I just want to say that. Where is this thing? Is this title? I can't see. My glasses are across the room. Hang on. Oh, I forgot I have key commands. Okay, so yes, we'll talk about this later. But this was my first love. I do know my way around the studio, but on a shooting on location as well. Next, CES, NAB. NAB is the National Association of Broadcasters. So, I'm going to pull up the website. Why not? Let's do it this way. NAB, National, I'm going to type in National Association of Broadcasters. Yes, this is a live stream. This is a casual one for my loyal followers that like to learn with me about live streaming. Okay, I got it. Can you see that? Because I can't. There we go. NAB, National Association of Broadcasters. And I'm going to make this a little larger so you can see it better. I'm going to close this out. I'm going to make it nice and clean. There you go. Is that better? Nice. Okay, so I can scroll up. The Voice of the Nation, radio and television broadcasters. So interesting that I was going to NAB before I ended up even working in news, right? Because it's the latest technology, courses, conferences, things related to national broadcasting. And I would go to this show, and I never became a member, but I met so many amazing people that were inspiring me to be a better storyteller. So I had worked in commercial photography, then got into live stream. Well, I had done graphic design, website building, all the things before that, but it was always creative, right? Always building, storytelling. This was a conference that really had a great effect on my career as well, because I got to meet real journalists and marry new media with old media or traditional media, because they work well together, right? You're just adding modern effects on top of the traditional storytelling, which will always be the firm foundation of news and things. So I met a lot of great storytellers that helped me refine the way that I produce my content, and that was big for me. So that was NAB, and I have some pictures on my phone. Let's see here from NAB. Oh, how about I just show you a picture from the last one, because that is where I got to meet Nikki Sun. So Nikki Sun of Technically Speaking is a woman who is in the creative space, in filmmaking space, producer, director. She hosted NAB, and I met her on Instagram, and she noticed I was a live producer and invited me to be on one of her panels, because she actually was hosting in the main hall area of the Las Vegas Convention Center, and she invited me on to be a guest to talk about the future of live streaming. So I got to geek out and go see, all this gear again, filmmaking gear. She knows more about that, but I found a remote production truck, and I just was like in my element. And that's when I had just left news. So I was like, this is such a great decision to go solo and to like work and meet all these people in remote production who are producing like the Country Music Awards and sports events at stadiums. And I was just like, oh my goodness. I was like, what's this truck called? It's called, I think, a Remy truck. Yeah, a Remy truck, a remote production truck. That's what this photo is. Why am I showing it to you small? I have to show you this, because meeting the people at high-end TV was like a dream come true for me, because they roll around in these production trucks on wheels, and you can't see the other side, but they were shining all their cell phone lights on me, because it's dark in the truck, so that I could take that picture, because they saw how I was geeking out so much. Yeah, I was just like, are you kidding me? So that was NAB, Michael, and I'm just like, I can't believe that happened. Here's one of the guys on the outside at the truck. I just felt like I fit right in. I didn't know if I could move in and travel with them, like a road tour kind of situation, but they didn't offer, so I didn't ask, but it was great. It was great. So we covered CES, NAB, different little filmmaking things. My friends in LA invited me to different, movie sets or TV sets or independent film sets, and then I got to go to this one that was Oddfest. I thought that was cool. If you're in film, you'll know who they are. But Effie Brown, meeting women in filmmaking was great for me, because I was often in Las Vegas the only woman on a red carpet when I was like really into commercial photography, and I also did red carpets, so I photographed a lot of celebrities, but I was the only female on the red carpet at the time. It was like, this is crazy. Besides reporters, of course, who journalists, they were female reporters, but the camera, the actual photographers, I was the only one at the time. Now there are many, which I'm so happy, but you have to sometimes see it to believe it, right? But me, I just went for it. That's how I was raised. Like, I just remember when my father died when I was young, but he was a photographer. He was in tech, and I just remember, I was like, if you want to see it, just be it. That's what that was my kind of thinking. He never said that, but it was just like, I followed that path. That was just, I guess it's just in my blood. And so now I'm keeping going. It's like, I think that's part of the reason why I don't have to feel super experienced to be in a space. I'll jump in, ask for help, learn, try, fail until you win, right? That's my model. It works for me. Some people wait until they're perfectly ready, until they're like, I have to look professional. But as you can see from this broadcast, how do you learn? I've learned more what I can do on the fly by just trying things live. And so I hope that you don't hold back from trying something new, because you just may discover you have this talent that you would have never discovered if you didn't just try. Make a couple of mistakes, yeah, but figure it out, because it's not the end of the world. It's like, this stream may be deleted, but I'm glad you all are here for now. Another thing, actually, let me show you a picture from the news. This was my desk in the newsroom. I found a picture when I brought my 360 camera, so that's why it looks all warped. I brought my 360 camera to work. That's me and my monitors that were in front of me, because I had like 20 tabs open a day to produce for digital news. Behind me, those are my monitors too at my live station. These here to watch the trending stories that were written stories on the website. You can watch on this big blue monitor. We use a program called Chartbeat. And these are my little monitors for monitoring remote cameras or studio cameras. And I use the far camera for streaming whatever feed I wanted to pull to go live on the website, or to direct a feed to something that they were going to use on air. And then I could also route it to one of my mini little screens over here to pull them into a web story and have like a live stream of a traffic cam or something like that. Or if there's a press conference by the public information officer for a certain agency like Metro or City of Las Vegas or State of Nevada, mayor, whatever it was. And that's what I would do. Yeah. Oh, you said innate ability. I love that. That reminds me of one of my favorite cartoons, Emperor's New Groove. I have an innate sense of direction. Yes. It's just like, I just like being creative. And Podcast by Mata said it perfectly also. Love that. I don't know if you can see it, but University of Trial and Error is my favorite university besides UNLV. Sorry, UNLV, but I haven't fully graduated from there. I got my degree, so I went to College of Southern Nevada, commercial photography business. Then I studied international business, but I went abroad with a study program with UNR and went to a Chinese university called Xina Minzu Dashui, which is Southwest University for Nationalities. And that's where I studied history, government, language for international business and sales. I hit the ground running after learning that, and I actually couldn't afford it. Let's be honest. University is expensive. So after I had that experience, and I spoke a good amount of Mandarin as well, and I already had sales experience, I just took it and just start working. So one day the goal is to go back, but right now I possess the skills to go speak at colleges because I learned it, like you said, Podcast by Mata, in the field. I learned it, and so I'm relevant as far as knowing the current state of the market. And sometimes when you're in school, the industry moves so fast that by the time your 4 years are up, whatever you would have been learning is out of date. So that's why I like to go speak about, this is the current state of, this is what you're going to expect when you graduate, this is what you should do. And I actually have pictures of doing that. So I'm grateful. Thank you to God, because if I hadn't done that, and if I would have just been like, oh, I can't afford to finish school and just went with another career, where would I be? But because I didn't, I just like, okay, well then I'll just get a job in the industry. I'll work as an assistant here. I'll do that. Or I'll do it myself until I have so much content and community that people recognize me as someone who has a sphere of influence in that industry. And that's what happened. And I got invited by a friend. I have a picture of the first time I spoke at university. That led to my news job, because they ended up needing a live producer. And my friend whose class I spoke at was like, oh, here's one day speaking at I think this was like, I think they were freshmen. University class. Take that off. And I brought a guest in the music industry with me, and I was talking about the effect of live stream, where I think it's going. It was early days. It was like 2015. And oh yeah, doing what you love is very important. And that was the first time I spoke there. The next time I spoke, then I knew more about live stream and its effects, and Twitter had purchased Periscope. I have this other one. I have to show you this picture. Let me see if I can find it in time before, because I don't want to, I know you got to go. It's like 10. You all have things to do today. I have one more conference to tell you about. Oh, but here's a picture from Nikki inviting me to speak at NAB. So grateful for that experience and her finding me on Instagram, knowing that I was in live stream. And at the time I was testing the Roland Aerocaster. You can see it right here. Right there, and that's my iPad using that software. So I was able to talk about some of the remote production software that I've tested and that I like using. But the other school picture, I just have to show you. I've spoken at high schools too, but it's really, I hope it's inspiring you, because I've spoken multiple times at a university I couldn't afford to graduate from. And I will eventually, and I'll probably I'm an alum of UNLV, but I've attended courses there, but my first year was spent abroad in China. But I really want to graduate from my local university if I ever find time. It probably only have to be online, but you don't really need the paper to get into this field because I am working in this field. But sometimes you just want it, you know. Sometimes you just want it. Okay, I'm going to find this picture. Don't let me sidetrack us. Tell me in the comments. Here we go. Maybe I don't have it. It's on my Instagram. It's on my Instagram, so go to scan this QR code and this one and go to my Instagram. You will see the picture because I did post a picture of the journalism class, and they were actually graduate students looking to get into journalism, and I was telling them how they need to have a reel, they need to have community build, show that they can attract an audience on social media before they, you know, apply. Because of course you can get internship, but the goal is, I think, is to get a paid job, because free doesn't pay the bills. I never took an unpaid internship because, yes, I've had mentors every now and then here and there, like if I could afford a small course or a networking event, but I never had the circumstance to work for free for a year just to get into a field. So I just did it until I was in the right rooms to get paid. Okay, I won't be finding it. So how about we just show you the picture from Infocom. I said Infocom and wrap it up. So that's me using another device I was testing called the Yellow Box Pro. And that's to go live with multiple camera sources on this one little all-in-one streaming device. So I used that as well. This is me out front of it because it was my first Infocom. Shout out to Roland. They invited me to that. So that was my first Infocom. And it won't be my last, but I don't think they're always in Las Vegas, so we'll have to figure out what about to do that, about how to get back to Infocom. Last one, let's show you. This is me on the Raiders field at a charity event. This one was an invite because I had a friend brought me to this one, but when I was in news, I went before. But now that I'm independent, my news friends in news invited me to go with them, so that was cool. Because I actually, when I was in news, I can find this picture. I can show you. I actually produced a digital story and took images at the Raider Stadium before it was built, and I do have pictures of that. So let me show you right before we go. I hope you can see it. Go back. It used to let me, oh, there we go. Okay, so this is my website, rockynash.com, and when you go here, you can click on bio, and you can go through and see like some behind the scenes images of my journey. I like to post this to inspire people because I did it differently, but I still work in this industry. I'm still learning. There's still up and downs because I'm a startup, but these experiences have taken me into rooms that, you know, with the leaders in the field, and it's helped me to grow. So that's what I wanted to show you, that I wouldn't have met these people if I didn't just try, you know, be a little be humble, be brave, and just go for it. I mean, being able to beta test for Google, for a YouTube product, that would have never happened if I wasn't creating first. They wouldn't have known that I had that skill. Here we go. Speaking at a high school to video production students about what's possible, whether you can afford college or not, how to maneuver it. Whichever course you choose is great if you can, but if you can't, you afford it. I couldn't either. Go for it. Like, go for it. Some of the brands I've worked with on marketing activations that I actually was discovered from my live content, where they reached out and said, hey, would you like to be part of this new campaign we're working on? Roland, love Roland, shout out. We're going to be talking about some more of their switchers. So using switchers, meaning you plug in multiple cameras to this device and you can switch cameras, kind of like how I'm doing right now. But the switcher I'm using is the Elgato, just the Stream Deck. So some of my, you can see actually in this photo, I don't know if you can see my mouse. That's the Roland Aerocaster. That's where you can use multiple cell phones to wirelessly connect them and use multiple cameras when you're streaming. And, so I think this is a little slideshow of some of the events. That's a marketing activation for MGM during New Year's with these are actually famous YouTubers around me. I was new, but I was actually a live producer. So but I was invited to be one of the influencers. This is me at Twitter, working in news. That was the someone with Adobe. I was so happy to meet someone with Adobe. 360. My first day, oh, that was my first week at Channel 8. That was me at my desk. That was when there was nobody else in the newsroom. There was somebody in master control. I think there was somebody up top, the technical director or something. I can't think of his title. And usually there's somebody at the booth behind me, the assignment desk. But that was during COVID. So, but I was essential, so I had to go to work to stream things and to route feeds to wherever they needed to go, because people, anchors and producers were like, anchors were at home. You know, you could produce from home too. But I had to be there because I was a digital producer, speaking at a local high school to video production students. Coffee chat. Oh, my coffee chat pick? What pick? Well, thank you. So it's just going to cycle through images. I don't know why it wasn't cycled, but that was like my first million followers on Periscope, or million likes on Periscope, which was their currency. Just different things. CES, NAB, Infocom, and oh, here's my behind the scenes. I can see all your chats. Thank you so much for being here, everyone, by the way. We've been going for 12 minutes. And I'm gonna have to log off because I have to go pick up this new camera gear, and I can't wait to tell you all more about it. Thanks for being here with me. I also went to View Studios. Oh wait, I have to show you that last picture, because I wanted to learn more about video production, and there was a workshop on virtual production. So I kind of have to quickly show you that. But this is an LED volume workshop on lighting an LED screen, which looks like a huge television screen, and how they do it in movies, so that instead of moving the talent, flying the gear out, going to Egypt, or going to, Africa, well, that's in the continent of Africa, or going to South America, they can cast that image on this screen like they do for Mandalorian, to make it look like you're in another world, and film movies there. So that studio is here, and I went to a workshop on lighting and virtual production. That's a whole nother level. We'll talk about that another time. View Studio was so nice to let me attend that event, because I'm not officially in virtual production yet, but that's the next level. So thank you so much for being here, and you have a wonderful day too, who's still here. Yes, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Podcast by Mata. Thank you, everyone. On the replay, if I leave it up, but it was so messy because we were just hanging out. I may not. I think I'll just delete it. But thank you so much for being here, and we could do this again soon. Enjoy your coffee. Mine, oops, probably got a little cold, but I'm going to warm it up. And you all have a good day, okay?